So, Frankie, really nice to meet you in a virtual kind of sense. How are you doing tonight? You're already in New Zealand.
I'm already here. I'm so good. Thank you so much for chatting with me. Yeah, I feel good. I am exhausted because I've been walking everywhere today, and this city is just hills.
hmm It sure is.
It's what I'm gonna have the legs of an angel by the time I leave.
Well, that's a good thing, but that's funny, isn't it? When you're not at home, I know when I travel, I just walk everywhere, and I never do it at home. It's weird.
It's so nice though,
Yeah.
like being forced to slow down. Like it is really nice, but also there are little things about traveling and touring that always get me. Like I was in the grocery store today and I was just like, everything has different packaging. I'm not coping. It's got a different layout. It's all very mundane, but
I have to say, I do
I,
I do
I,
enjoy Australian supermarkets, though.
oh, do you have a favorite?
Uh, I've been into Coles. I can't really remember some of the others. Yeah, the last time I was in Sydney, I was in
Yeah.
the city centre, and they had Coles just about on every corner. So
It
yeah.
looks very crisp, doesn't it?
Yeah, but they have lots of things that we don't have here. As you say, the different packaging, but yeah, everything it seems new and fresh and different.
Yeah, you have a much better like biscuit selection
Oh, really? What's
here.
your favorite biscuit?
Well, here they don't have them anymore at home, but you've got like the honeycomb swirls,
Oh,
like chocolate
yeah.
swirl biscuits. I'm going to be declaring some things on the way home.
It's the best thing. Just tell them about it, and hopefully they won't take them from you. Now we got a little
Yeah,
bit
just slide
got a
packing.
little bit distracted by biscuits, but
Sorry, you did.
so we're going to be talking about Tabitha Booth, and you've got a show coming up in a couple of days here in Auckland, an evening with Tabitha Booth. So tell me about her. What kind of person she is, and is she an alter ego of yours?
Tabitha Booth is she's like very inspired by the likes of like Judy Garland, Lucille Ball, Liza Minnelli, but just way more unhinged and probably a lot less kind. She's I call her the Forrest Gump of Broadway because it's very unclear how old she is, but she's definitely just like been in the background of every historical event. Um, but yeah, she's very loud. She's pretty delusional. She thinks that she still wants to believe that she's super famous, but I think that she knows she's not. And I think I don't know if I would say alter ego. I think greatest fear is
Oh,
probably how
really?
I
Yeah.
would describe her. Just as like someone who their peak quite early and then couldn't really get away from she played one character called Long Fork Lady and was never able to she's got so much backstory. I've written too much backstory for her. It's insane. But um yeah, just not being able but she has a lot of tenacity. Like she will never stop trying to do the thing that she loves, which I really like about her. That's like a very redeeming quality she has. And other than that, she just kind of drinks from the bottle and chain smokes.
Right. And so, any of that you can relate to, or you'd like to relate to, or is she just this complete fiction that gives you license to be something bigger, larger than life?
I think that I like to think that we both have the same kind of tenacity of just being like, there's something I want to do and there's nothing else. Like, I was talking to someone the other day and they were just saying, oh, if you weren't doing comedy or you weren't acting, what would you do? And I just probably like it's very much a purpose. And I don't think I could really give it up for anything. I don't think that I would really be living if I wasn't doing it. I wouldn't be authentic to myself. And I think that is very much something that she has as well, which I really, really like. So we have things in common, but I think it also gives me license to like climb over the audience chairs that you can't do in stand up. That's wild. But yeah, license to pretend to know how to tap dance. Like it's very, very fun.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Now, tell me about that accent because I was watching a video and it seems kind of curious. She kind of made a reference to French culture. So, where exactly is she from? Do you think?
I think I always do that. I just like I started dropping into this. This was like ages ago. I just started dropping into what I think is like a transatlantic kind of accent. Um, so she's like I would just say generic America 1940s movie America, I
But
think.
there's a lilt there because when she made that reference to France, I kind of thought there's something in that voice that maybe is she from the south, like a Devereaux, or was she related to some kind of French family from decade generations back, or
I think that she would want that desperately. I think that she's probably just like trying to hide whatever actual accent she does have. Like maybe it's like a real like Texan and she's just like trying desperately not to use
so
it.
she's putting on airs, in other words.
About the entire show, she is like everything. The whole point of the show is that everything goes horribly wrong, and the entire show, she's just still trying to save face and be like, "It's fine."
I really like her name because I have a cat called Tabitha.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so good.
and I named her after the baby in Bewitched, well, young Tabitha, the young witch.
Yeah.
So I've always loved the name. So as soon as I saw Tabitha Booth, I thought, oh yeah, yeah, that's very cool.
I mean, bring the cat. Absolutely, that's fine.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
She'll love it.
So when did you first start getting into comedy, performing? When did that all begin?
I think I always loved it when I was at school and everything, and then um 2017, I think my friend and I just started doing sketches together in a comedy duo, and then we ended up traveling. We were actually in Wellington. We won the Sydney like Tour Ready Award, so it took us to Wellington, and then from that, I found out I grew up in Canberra, and I found out there was a comedy community, and I just started doing stand up. So probably yeah, like 2017, 2018, yeah.
Does it become addictive? This kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. 100%. Because I think that when you get them, like when you have a good set, you just truly you feel like you're never gonna die. Like you're like, yeah, I'm just full of adrenaline, and I feel so good. But then when you bomb, when you have a bad show, you just truly you're like, oh, I gotta give up.
And everybody bombs, doesn't it? I've talked to a lot of comedians, even super successful comedians, and they all have stories about there was at least one night where it just all collapsed. The audience was bad, or something
Absolutely.
went on.
Yeah, and like you bomb and you're like, wow, that was the worst that it's ever been. And then you know what? There's another one that's even worse. And it's beautiful because you can never really pick it.
It's funny you say you started in 2017, and I noticed you won the Newcomer Award in 2022, but it just seems like you're everywhere. You're popping up all over the place. It feels like you've been around forever. But that's
Oh,
actually,
that's very kind.
yeah, but yeah, it does. It feels like you've got this presence. It's like you've always been here.
That's super. That's really really nice. I feel like it's really strange. I feel super lucky. I think that winning newcomer kind of that's the reason that like my current management like came to see the show. They just heard that they were like, oh, this I've heard this is a good show. I'll go check it out, and then we grab coffee kind of thing, and that's helped so much. So I feel super lucky, but also I feel like there are such lulls in this like industry where you're just sitting there, you're like, oh, I'm never going to work again. When am I? Oh no. So it's really funny when I'll be promoting things and friends are saying, like, oh, you're everywhere. And I'm like, I've been doing nothing. I've been in my room. I haven't done a thing.
It's that whole thing about creatives, isn't it? You can have these wild. It's like a roller coaster. You have these amazing moments, and then you feel like everything's gone down the toilet, and then the next minute, oh, this is fantastic again. It's part of the process, isn't it, of being a creative person?
Yeah. And I think part of that is that kind of resilience of being like, when things aren't going crash hot and when there's not like you're not having like 1,000 jobs, it's not kind of phoning it in. And I think that it's super easy to do, especially when you're just starting out, because you're like, well, I'm putting in so much effort. I'm not getting paid anything. I'm putting in time. I'm putting in energy. Why would I do this? So I definitely think it kind of takes a certain person to keep going. I think it's just because you have to. I don't think you can sustain it if it's not the thing that you're meant to do.
Now, I found something. I think was your profile on Twitter. You know how there's so many people can create fake profiles and whatever. But I found one that I think is you, and it said a little post, microdosing being bisexual by also having a large amount of the Australian population refusing to date me. If that is you, can you just unpack that for me? What was going on in that moment?
There was a news article in Australia that was saying that um, I think it was both men and women. There was basically like a survey, and bisexual people came out as like the least likely group of people that someone would want to date. Um, and so just as a bisexual person, I was like, nah, you got me. That's fine.
It's kind of a weird, because I'm a gay man, and the whole time I've been out, which is much longer than I'd care to admit. Uh, there's always been this edge around bisexual people that what camp, pardon the pun, do they fit into, which I've always found quite strange because you know we're all different, we all have different things that we're into, and what's the big deal? So what are your perspectives on that now?
I think it's really common. Like I think that for me, especially as well, like I remember getting asked like, oh, like what percentage of like men and like women like do you like, and I found it like I was like, oh well, I need to be able to answer this, but I can't. It's just very much like a people based thing. But also, I found myself like bi raising myself all the time. Like I'm currently dating a cis man, and I like will like do stand up about the fact that I'm like I'm sorry I'm dating a man,
Yeah.
um, but I also think that there is a part of that that is me kind of not wanting to lose that bisexual identity that I felt so long I kind of fought for, and now I'm like, oh no, people like my sister is also bisexual and she's married to a man, and she said as soon as she got married, no one asked her like,
Yeah, it's
what are you
funny, isn't it?
into? Yeah, and it's so I think that I am pretty loud about it because I'm proud of it and I don't want to lose it just because I'm with a man at the moment.
I guess there's also a response, I suppose, that you could give to people is it's none of your fucking business. you know.
Yeah, it's so
So who
strange because
cares?
I feel like
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Like,
Well, when I was coming
yeah.
out, which was a long time ago, I would get questions like, well, which one of you plays the part of the woman? And it's like,
Oh my god. Oh my
you know,
god.
yeah, okay. Never really thought about it, to be honest with you, but there you go. Hey, I've got one
I
last.
thought that everyone was.
Sorry, go on. I'll interrupt you.
Sorry, I was just saying, I thought that everyone was bisexual when I was
Yeah.
growing up because my mum, like, her best friend in the world, is like a lesbian, and so I grew up around, and the guys down the road, they were gay, and I was like, oh, everyone's bi. That's just normal. And it wasn't until I was at school and I was just talking about it, and other kids were like, what?
But
No, and I was like,
but doesn't it shock you nowadays when you hear those kind of sentiments about or judgment around whatever it is, whether it's your gender identity, sexual orientation, whatever? That I still find it quite shocking. I guess I live in a liberal bubble, and I'm assuming you do too. But so it's quite kind of
yeah,
weird.
I'm very much in the bubble. Like yeah, I'm very, very much in the bubble. So when I hear things like that, I'm like, oh, oh my God, what are we doing?
Exactly. Hey, well, look, my final question, and you kind of mentioned biscuits before, but do you have a favorite go-to comfort food? Is there something that you just go gaga over?
It changes. I usually kind of do the thing where I'm like I'll just eat through one thing all the time. At the moment, it's just like a tomato based pasta and lots of cheese. If I'm like need a blanket over my head and I just need to rock back and forth, that's gonna get me through.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. So carb loading, the cheese is always good.
Mm.
Lots of protein. Yeah. So
Yeah,
no.
yeah, absolutely. I look up my body's a temple.
Well, fair enough too. Hey, look, really lovely talking to you. All the best for the season, and I'm sure we'll see you again in New Zealand. You seem to pop up a lot, so yeah, all the best.
Yeah, thank you so much.